This is Portside Perspectives, exploring the yacht economy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Portside Perspectives. Today, I'm sitting here speaking with Heather Witkop. Good morning, Heather. How are you today?
Good morning. Good, thank you.
And Heather is a yacht or boat designer, independent contractor. Why don't you just give me a little bit of about what you do specifically, and then we'll kind of get into how you even got into doing this in the first place.
Sure, yeah. So my background is industrial design, and I always like to say that I have an industrial design studio and with a marine design focus. So we design boats, yachts. We can design anything from small runabout boats to larger live aboard boats.
Okay, cool. So tell me then, how did you even get started down this path? What's your background story and where what brought you here in the first place?
I loved boats when I was growing up. I would spend all of my weekends at the with the family on the boat, and I loved art when I was going to school. So I wanted to figure out a way to combine those two. When I was looking for ways to study that, I found a school at in Savannah. It's called Savannah College of Art and Design that has a major in industrial design and minor specifically in marine design. So I was fortunate to find that opportunity to really to blend the two.
Oh, okay. And so this was kind of your path from like pretty much from the beginning then. This is what you wanted to do from the word go.
Yeah, I always joke that a lot of people don't know what they want to do really on in their career going into college, but I was like dead determined that this is what I
Laser
was gonna do.
laser focused and very much one direction focused. Yeah, well that's really cool. You're right. Like I don't think a lot of people have that solid vision for themselves. I mean, some people do, but there's so many that kind of get lost in the weeds trying to figure themselves out before they make that leap into actually spending money to go to university or whatever. But oh, that's really cool that you kind of had that mindset and that vision, and here you are following through with it. So that's awesome. Why, Kate? So let's get a little bit deeper into what that means to be a yacht or a boat designer. So just get deeper into what it is you actually do.
Sure. So I currently work as a contractor for a lot of builders and OEMs. So that could be production boats or that could be custom boats. A lot of times what we'll do on the custom side is we'll sit down with someone who's interested in building a boat and we'll help them design what their dream looks like. So our initial in-person or virtual meetings, we're there to listen. So we're basically there to hear what their dreams are, what their style preferences, how they're going to use the boat, what they're going to do with the boat, where they're going to use the boat. And our job is to take all of that input and sketch it into something and turn it into something visual. So I like to say that I still start with pencil and paper. I will get a blank piece of paper out, and it's a really awesome experience to basically start with a blank sheet.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a very personal experience to be able to work one-on-one with an individual like that and really let their dream come to life.
Right. I'm sure obviously you must work. I mean, so you are an engineer as well then, correct?
So my background's industrial design. So we'll work with engineers and we'll work with naval architects, but I'm more
Okay.
on the like aesthetic side of
Sure, but
things.
you're not an engineer yourself, so you do have to work alongside the naval architects and engineers to actually make sure that things are, built the way they're supposed to be built. But you're just kind of helping give that more functionality and aesthetics and the making the boat pretty and I assume functional as well. I mean,
Mhm.
um, the way you lay things out and space and utilization of space and all of that.
Exactly. Yep. So we're doing a lot of that like upfront work, setting the length, setting the beam, And then collaborating with the naval architect to make sure that what we sketch can be built. And there's a lot of back and forth and collaboration that happens there. So obviously I want to sketch something that the client likes, that is buildable, and that the naval architect is basically can approve and, works well. So
Yeah.
we like to say that there's a design spiral. And it's split, you can imagine that it's split into 4 quadrants. So you have the client, you have the designer, which would be myself, you have the builder, and then you have the naval architect. And you can imagine as the spiral starts out wide, everyone has input, and we go around the lap, and then we slowly start to take that input and spiral down into the center point, so that each time we go through a revision, everyone has a say in that. So it's a very collaborative process.
Hmm. That's really cool though. So you're just, excuse me, you are an integral part of this process, but you definitely aren't working alone. Like you said, the client is the one who's has a vision or something they expect in their head, and you can help kind of bring that together into something that can be handed off to an engineer. The engineer says you can or you cannot do that, and then the builder has their input in saying, well, you think you can do that, but we don't know how to build that, and then so it's a little bit of back and forth. I get that. I mean, it's kind of the way it is in most construction of anything, building of anything, really. You have someone's vision of what they want, and then all the different parties that come together to help make that happen. And in reality, and sometimes what's in reality, it doesn't quite match exactly what someone has in their dreams. And I get that, and it's really cool that you can work together with with everybody to make it come together. So, um, give me a sense of what types of vessels you typically work on right now.
Yeah, great question. So our most recent project that we launched is a brand new pontoon. It's called Avati. It's a new startup company, and we were very fortunate to work on it from day one. So we were helping design the DNA of the brand, essentially setting up, what does this brand represent? What style do you want it to have? And it's really fun to start that process with uh, again, that collaborative mindset.
Yeah.
And we start a lot with conversations before we actually sketch anything, of saying, okay, do you want this to be sporty? Do you want it to be aggressive? Do you want it to be understated? Do you want it to have to look luxurious? So it's more of like throwing out words like that and getting a sense of where we want to position the look of the boat.
Right. That's pretty cool though that you're actually able to get in on the kind of the ground floor of a new company's um, brand, essentially, and
Mhm.
what the world is gonna expect from them, and your name's gonna kind of be stamped on that. And what was the name of that company again?
It's Avati. It's
Avati.
a
Can you just spell that so if anybody wants to go look it up?
Sure, Evotti.
Evie. See, good thing I asked you to spell it because I would have spelled that incorrectly. But you do work with other builders as well, correct?
We do, yes. So we work with a handful of builders. So on the production side, we range from fiberglass boats, small boats, mostly runabouts there, to the pontoon brand that I just mentioned. We do some work with ribs, so inflatables, and then we'll do work with custom boats too.
Okay. We did talk before we got recording here about one of your, um, I don't know how to word it. I guess one of your more uh, passionate projects, and that it would be the Van Dam Dreamboat. So Van Dam is a custom boat building company, and you've done other work for them in the past as well, have you?
Correct. Yeah, we've been a great partner for the last, I would say, 8 to 7 years.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, we've worked on multiple projects together.
Okay, and I believe you would do you have some images, and do you mind walking through that project a little bit right with us right now, so that people get a sense of a little bit more of an understanding of what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay.
There we go.
So I just wanted to bring this slide up first. This is a page of our sketches. So this would be kind of some of the really early sketches that we'll design. Obviously, this one's more interior focused, but like I said before, I love starting with pencil and paper. And there's just a different feel of having the pencil and connect with the paper and how my mind thinks through
Hmm.
problems. But these are something that we can quickly sketch, pass by the client, see if we're heading in the right direction, and also collaborate with the client. So a lot of times we'll take these and we'll modify them with the client as we're sitting there in person. So it's a very fun part of the process. I love the ability to express um, design and thoughts through sketching, and then to see when people see their vision also come to life on paper. You can really see their eyes light up on it too.
Right. Cool. I mean, I love this as well. Uh, I'm not an artist or anything, but I mean, I used to be. When I was a lot younger, I used to love drawing and things like that. And within the construction world, I do enjoy kind of designing things. So I do get that what you're saying of the pencil to paper and just getting your thoughts out into the in out pulling your thoughts out of the ether and getting them into some form of reality, even if that's just a pencil drawing on paper.
Yeah. And then from there, we'll start adding color to it. So this would be one of the renderings that you see that's a little bit more representative of what the final boat will look like. So there's a lot of work that goes into this point as far as back and forth conversations, and then like I mentioned with that spiral. But this is kind of the very first picture of what the finished materials layout
Right.
arrangements would be.
So how often when you go back and forth with like the builder and the engineer, the architect, do you run into them telling you like, oh, that looks great, but there's no way we can do that. We have to change it. Like how often does that happen?
I would say more often earlier in my career, but with I'm starting to really understand the limitations
Right.
more early
You've
on
learned a
in the
few lessons
process.
along the
Yeah.
way since you've been doing this
Yeah.
then. Okay. Sorry, carry on, carry on.
No, it's a great question. Yeah, and that's one thing that I do really pride myself in is that we are sketching something that can be built.
Hmm.
And I want to make sure that we are doing that. So this boat, what you see here, is represented in the final, and I'll bring up a picture of that. So,
Right.
um, so this is one of the final pictures of Dreamboat on the water, just again showing the exterior, the proportions, and making sure that what we are presenting turns into that vision.
Right. And so this vessel specifically, it was your design, in collaboration with the client and engineering builder and all of that. But this was a custom build from the ground up, right? Like it wasn't based off of any other, hull and then just modified to suit the client. This was built and designed from the ground up.
It was, yes. This particular project has a very personal story that some of the initial drawings were done by the owner's father. So that's why I think this is very personal, that it was drawings that were brought to us and then asked to modernize it, but to still respect that family heritage.
Mm, cool. Very, very cool. And so you obviously, I've on your website you have a few different projects highlighted here. A lot of I do see a lot of pleasure craft, like
Mhm.
just like speedboats and that sort of thing. Is that the majority of what you work on? I mean, obviously, Dreamboat was a very unique project. But tell me a little bit more about like the other vessels that you tend to work on in the majority.
Yeah, so we do a lot with fiberglass boats, day boats, I would say, from runabouts to deck boats, and from 20 feet to 26 feet. I would say that's definitely been something that we found a niche in. Um, it's a segment that's a little harder at the moment, I would say, as industry seems to shift. So I I love it. And one of the projects that we worked on again in that segment was Scarab jet boats. And Scarab was another example where we were able to start the brand from scratch. So
Okay, cool.
basically set yeah, same story, setting the DNA, figuring out what the boat should look like. Again, do we want to make it aggressive, sporty? And then going through the whole process of designing interiors and um, picking out
And you,
colors that also address
and you
that
can see
look.
that on your screen there now. That's the
Mhm.
Scarab brand that you so you were part of that company as well at the beginning of their brand building and how they wanted their image to look.
Yeah, yep. So this at the time I was working for what is now Group Beneteau. So I was working in the office as a designer, and it was really great experience to work and start establishing this brand.
Right. Well, they're very, very cool looking vessels for sure. Um, and so I'm just going to go back, looking at a lot of these other ones here. The one that caught my eye here was this one here, the uh,
Mhm.
V355 coupe. Is there anything you can tell me about that one? That one looks a little bit larger than some of the other ones you've mainly been working on.
Yeah, so this was a live aboard boat for Four Winds that we worked on. Again, working from start to finish, similar to the custom design with the going through the sketch process and layouts and collaborating with architects, naval architects and engineers. This one just happened to be in fiberglass and in the production side of things.
Okay.
So it, it's yeah, very similar process.
Well, it looks
But
like
we,
it caught my eye because I mean, it just it looked so cool when I just was scrolling past it. Um, so I guess, here's my next question. Then you have been mainly working on, I'll put in quotes, smaller vessels, but do you have inclinations or aspirations to start getting involved in doing some larger like yachts and things like that?
definitely. I think that, I've been in the industry for 15 years and I'm comfortable in the smaller vessels sort of thing. But I am loving the stretch into the bigger vessels with the coupe and with the Dreamboat project. So I'd love the opportunity someday to expand even bigger than that.
Right. Just, I guess, new challenges. Just jumping into something new and expanding your own horizons a little bit more. And I guess that it would mean you'd be working on that project for, I assume, much longer and for a more extended period of time. I can only assume the bigger the vessel, the more work goes into it for sure.
For sure, and the more details to think about. I would say, yeah, bigger vessels, but also how detailed like the interior and the staterooms are. That all plays into it too.
Right. Yeah. 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 For sure. And seem to notice a shift lately where um, vessels are. not necessarily getting bigger, but they seem to have more space and what's just more functionality, uh, and that I think I'm sure comes with new materials, new technology. Um, Things have shifted from the back in the day when they only had certain ways of building and certain things to build with and certain
Mm.
technologies to use. Now things have changed. The ability to utilize the space is a little bit more. Well, it's changed, right? I mean, you can probably utilize the space a lot more, and it seems like you look at a lot of these newer yachts and you walk in and you look at it from the outside, and when you get inside, you think you're like in Doctor Who's TARDIS or something like that, where it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And and I maybe just dated myself there a little bit, but yeah. So I mean, that is something that you would like to move into if you had the opportunity. And are there any other I want to say goals, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Are there any other aspirations you have within this industry? Anything specific that you'd like to, take on and work on?
Well, I would say that it's been a really fun experience transitioning from working in a corporate environment to being a freelancer. And now I have 3 people on a team that work together. So I think just growing the team and growing in more of a collaborative environment like that would be my other aspiration.
Cool. Um, so all right, so now let's kind of shift a little bit here. So you are an independent firm. You collaborate with different builders. How do you get in touch with these companies? How do they know who you how do you get the word out there about who you are and what you're doing, and get your foot in the door to be the person who designs for this company or that company?
Yeah, honestly, all up until this point, it's just been networking and word of mouth. From being in the industry is pretty small, so I rely a lot on my connections, and
Mhm.
it's been really great so far.
But
Um,
but that's generally it. It's just been sticking your foot in the door and being in front of people's faces within the industry, and just the networking aspect of things. It's not like you're actively out there advertising or marketing your design firm. At least not at this point, anyways. You're
right. Yeah, we have enough work at the moment to keep us busy, but I definitely like to share my work on Instagram. So I think if that's the biggest or the best avenue where you could follow along at what we're doing at the studio, and usually the most up to date.
right. So is it just you, or like, do you have other people within your company and part of your team right now?
I do, yes. We have three people, so 4 including myself. We have 2 senior designers, 1 junior designer, and yeah, it's a really great way to collaborate together and bring some other like fresh ideas to the industry too.
Okay, so let's say you got a new project. Then does that mean all 4 of you kind of collaborate on that project and work together to bring it together? Is that generally how it works, or do you kind of divvy it up? Okay, this we need this project done. You take that, and you take this one. Like, how does that work internally?
We, especially on a big project, we would start by brainstorming together. So it is really helpful to have a conversation with the team and start kicking around ideas. It's there's some things that I have a perception of in the industry, but there's other things and people have experienced that can bring different ideas and maybe from different industries too. So that's one thing that we look at. We look at outside industries like cars, fashion, architecture, and where we can pull inspiration from. So having the 4 of us on a start of a project, we can really pull inspiration from everywhere.
Right. Yeah, and kind of again going back onto your some of your projects and stuff, like the Scarab boats and some of the other ones I'm looking on here. They're boats. You look at them, hey, that's a boat. But they have a slightly different. more modern kind of it's funny you brought up cars and car design, because when I
Mhm.
first came to this website, the last time we had spoke before we started the podcast, it was one of the things that jumped out in my mind. It's like just the way that some of these projects on your website look is they look more like kind of leaning into sports car shapes
Mhm.
and like I don't know how else to explain it, but they're not just a standard typical looking boat. They have different angles and um it's really cool to see a new vision about what a boat should look like coming out into the world.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are definitely inspired by cars. The Scarab one, for example, was designed to be more edgy, more angular. So we wanted to really represent that in the design of it.
Well, it definitely is represented. It comes across and shows. That's for sure. Um, okay, is there anything you wanted to bring up or discuss with regards to any projects that you have coming up, or anything that you wanted to highlight within projects you've done in the past? Anything like that?
I think we covered a lot of the projects, especially the ones I was most passionate about.
Right.
There's a lot of other things that we do that I can't necessarily talk about too. So got
Fair
some
enough. Okay.
secrets in the works.
So, well, then I'll ask you this: there are there any trends or things you're noticing within the industry in the work that you do, or outside of the work you do, just being in the industry? Is there anything that you're noticing as a trend, whether that's, people leaning to a certain design and the way things look, or their functionality, or anything like that? Anything at all that you see as a trend going on within the world that you physically work in,
Mhm.
or the world outside that actually, affects the world that you live in?
Yeah. Well, I think you had brought up the comment about boats getting bigger and like more use of space. And I think that's definitely something that we're seeing too. And I always like to say that people always ask, what is luxury? And that can mean different things to different people. Luxury could be sporty, like a Lamborghini, or it could be classic, like a Hinckley. To say that there's a style that's luxurious is it's hard to define that. But I think one thing that we could agree on is space is luxury. So if you
Hmm.
have a boat that has that, amount of space where you can either live aboard or do water activities and water sports, I think that's kind of the trend that we're seeing is just more space, bigger boats, and ways that people can get on the water. Um,
Right. No, and I mean it's something that I noticed, and I'm not even in design, but um, there's I'm for the life of me, I was trying to look it up here just now while you were speaking, because it was one thing that it was I can't, I'm trying to remember the name of the company, and it should be right on the tip of my tongue, but your brain does that every now and again, and you may have seen it where back on the gunnels, the side drops down to extend the
mm,
swim platform. You are familiar with this? Okay.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
do you remember the name of the company that started doing that? Because right now my brain is not being able to bring it up, but um, I wanted to ask
Uh,
you. Go ahead.
oh no, there's a couple. It's definitely a trend that's been out there, and I feel like there's a lot of brands doing it now. One of the Four Winds boats, one of the bigger Horizon boats, does that.
Four Winds. I'm almost positive that was the first one I'd ever seen. And I guess I just want your opinion as a designer, how you feel about that, and if when I first saw them, I've yet to actually see one in person. Um, but my first impression was that's really cool. That's new. That's different. And you can expand your swim platform to like a big open deck where plenty of people can sit down and enjoy the sun or eat or whatever. I just The second thing that came to my head was the engineering of it, and
Mhm.
how long is something like that going to last, being in the position that it's in under stresses and mechanical parts and seals and all of that. So I'm curious what your take is on those, and if you have any more insight, deeper knowledge than I do about how those work and what you expect them to. Do you expect them to stick around for a while, or if there are issues with them? I'm sure engineers are going to fix that problem sooner or later.
Right. Well, I won't speak to the engineering side of it, but from a use case side of it, I think it's great. I think anytime that we can get people closer to the water and feel more connected to the water, I think that's an amazing thing that we can do with boats. And I think
Well, and
that's the
it
the
comes back to
goal.
the space thing too, right? Like it opens up the space more, and when you're sitting there anchored or chilling out in the sun, you can, hey, let's pull out the bigger deck.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one of the amazing things that boats gives us is the opportunity to get away, to feel like we're on our own little retreat, our own island. And I think those side drop down pieces just allow you to have that um, a moment of awe based when you're on the water and you're looking out over the horizon.
Hmm. I'm going to assume that you haven't incorporated any of that sort of thing into any of your designs. Is it something that you might look at in the future? I mean, obviously, if a client wanted it, you would probably look into it and do what you could. But is it something or things like that, or anything like that that you consider outside of that even?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for new ways to expand the space or bring some new innovative ideas to the industry.
Right.
So it's definitely something we would consider. Yeah.
Um, okay. So I guess, people want to find you if they see this and they say, hey, maybe I'd like Heather to uh, look at designing a vessel for me, my company, and my boat building company, whatever it is. How do you prefer people to get a hold of you?
So my website's the great best place for that. And
Okay.
it's H Witkop, Witkop design.com.
Okay. And so I found you on LinkedIn. I'm actually on your
Mhm.
LinkedIn profile here right now. And that website is on your profile. There's also an email on there. If people wanted to email you, could they just email you to that email address as well?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Any other social media places people? You said something about Instagram earlier. If people wanted to follow you and just see some of your projects as they're going.
Yeah, yeah. So Instagram's probably our place where we post most of the updates. And that's H Witkop, Witkop underscore design.
On Instagram.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, Heather, it's been really, really cool talking to you. I've been wanting to get some kind of a boat or yacht designer on here for some time, and so you lucked out and ended up being the first. Um, so thank you very much for taking time out of your day and spending some time to chat with me and kind of discuss a little bit about what you do and your business, and hopefully we can get this out to some people so they know more about you and learn more about you. Um, I do ask a couple of it's kind of a two-part fun question. I ask it at the end of every interview, and answer it however you feel is appropriate. Um, is there a vessel throughout your life that you've been on, you've seen that just kind of blew your mind and was like, wow, this thing is really cool. Maybe one you designed, um, something that holds a special place in your heart because it has a memory attached to it. Anything like that, one vessel, one boat that really sticks out in your mind. And two, second part of it would be, is there a favorite destination or location for you to um, take a vessel to? Again, same sort of thing because it was just awe-inspiring, or maybe it had a memory attached to it, whatever that might mean to you.
Well, I think the first one I just have to go with Dreamboat. It's a project that's really special and dear to my heart, and was a really amazing experience to work work on. So I think that'll always be one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part of the question, favorite location. I live in northern Michigan. It's beautiful here in the summer. So we are on the water on Grand Traverse Bay, out by the Sleeping Bear Dunes, and it's just an amazing pocket of the world.
Right. Well, so on that, is that typically where you do most of your work is up in Michigan, or like are you contracted by companies that are kind of all over?
All over. A lot of our companies are based in Michigan, Midwest, but we do some work in Florida and throughout the states.
Okay, cool. That's good for people to know, and it doesn't matter where they are. You'll still be able to do what you do from wherever you are.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Again, Heather, it's been really awesome talking with you. Thank you very much for coming on and spending time with me. I'm you were kind of one of the bucket list people I wanted to speak to on this podcast, and maybe one day when you get another big important project, we'll have you back on for you to talk about it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Have a good day. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks for sailing with us. This has been Portside Perspectives.